Hey, what's up, spooky fam? I cannot believe we are already like midway through August almost. I feel like these videos come around so fast and we like are blowing through the year. So this is everything we watched in the month of July. Once again, we watched 34 movies and you can always follow me on Letterboxd. I will leave it linked down below. I say this every single month. I don't want to be here for a half an hour, and I usually am. I don't want to talk your ear off like with this kind of stuff. I just kind of want to make these videos easy breezy, and they never are. So I am going to, with a lot of these, try and summarize my review to 10 words or less as a challenge. But some I do want to elaborate on. So if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, subscribe, check out all of my links down below if you would like to see any more of me or support the channel any further. Let's get right into July's Letterboxd recap already. Alright, starting off on the first, we watched The Watchers. And it definitely does feel like a Shyamalan adjacent film. Obviously it is his daughter. But what I would say about this was kind of boring. A little unnecessary. I didn't like it. On the third, we did a little double feature beginning with the movie hashtag Chad Gets the Axe. And this is one I have been waiting for. But like I said in my written review, if this would have come out before Deadstream, I would have enjoyed it more. It's just another like social media on-screen ghost hunting film. I kind of enjoyed it. It was fun, but moving on to Ghost Team, which is one I did enjoy because it does star Jon Heder and Justin Long, a great pairing. But good late night watch. Speaking of a good late night watch, on the 5th we watched Dr. Giggles with Joe Bob, and anything with Joe Bob is a good time. There's gonna be a lot of Joe Bob this month, but I'm surprised I haven't seen Dr. Giggles. Moving on to the 6th, we watched Disturbing Behavior. I'm surprised I haven't seen it. Was fun. Would I recommend? Only if you are like a 90s horror completionist or fan. If not, you might find this kind of cheesy and not worth your time. On the 6th, we also watched Scream, but Scream from 1981. And honestly, this is just a great summer film. This is nothing special, but you can definitely see where other films were influenced by this one. Alright, moving on to the 7th, and one of my favorite films of the year, The Devil's Bath. If you are in for a slow, very like, it takes its time, but it really grips you. And it's a movie about like a real situation that happened. Like, if you are in for a period piece, like don't think of this as like a normal period piece, whatever. Like this is like a genuine period piece from a specific, very specific time where events were happening, really revolving around mental health and what it meant to take your life into your own hands in that time. And honestly, just it's so good. Okay, moving on to the 7th also. Wanted a palate cleanser after the Devil's Bath, and we ended up at the dentist. And I've never seen the dentist films because I have dental trauma, like severe dental trauma. So this one really did get under my skin. But let's talk about a movie that really did get under my skin. I already have a whole video on my review for Longlegs. We went to the theater opening day on the 12th to see Longlegs, and let me tell you, I got comfortable. I got real comfy in my chair. I was whatever. Movie started and my whole body like tensed up. And then the first, I've already said this like in the video, the first jump scare, if you've seen it, the very, very first jump scare in Longlegs It was so loud and so out of left field for me. I started crying. And you guys know, because we're close personal friends, that I'm a big baby when it comes to scary faces, and not knowing what Nick Cage was going to look like, leaving that kind of in my head for the runtime until we actually got a face reveal. I don't know, it really just, the sounds, it was so effective for me that the whole movie I was just on edge. On the 13th, we watched The Dentist 2. We are doing a lot of like series watches, you'll notice, but we did The Dentist 2, and that one definitely was more brutal than the first one, but once again, I have such bad dental trauma that I had to like physically look away and get up and walk away for some scenes because I was having some flashbacks. Moving on to a movie from 2023 called Black Mold. This is on Tubi for free. If you are a fan of urban exploring, check this one out. I feel like you would be a fan of this movie because it does dive into what happens when you stumble upon like mold and stuff when you're like, just go into it. Go into it. It's fun, but it's not good. On the 13th also, we watched a film I've mentioned called Last Summer. And we've talked about this director, Catherine Breillat, and how she makes very controversial films, and this is nothing different. This is another film that made me feel so uncomfortable that I felt like I had to get up and leave the room, because this film does deal with a woman who ends up in an affair with her 17-year-old stepson, and it is absolutely horrific. Like, it is so... like, it's hard to watch. But, I don't know, I am interested in this director and what she has to say, so I don't know, it didn't sit right with me. Also on the 13th, we watched Exuma, which was so cool. This movie was pretty much about like grave exhumations and rituals and these big elaborate like things they do. They're so cool, and it's so slick, but it's so creepy, and that's another film that really gets under your skin and stays there. It's on Shudder, and I do recommend it. Like, if you guys are not if you watch Darren Van Dam here on YouTube, he's one of our faves. He always says like, oh, like, go watch the dubbed version. No, watch the subbed version. Immerse yourself in the subtitles. Immerse yourself in that world. Really just like give yourself over to the subtitles. So on the 14th, we started our rewatch of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series because I'd only seen a few, and it was nice to, well, I think I've seen more than I thought I did, but these are the ones I'm really gonna try and sum up in not so many words. So starting off with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974, perfect film. 5 stars. Perfect film. Hot, sweaty, disgusting, filthy, gross, lingering, sweaty, bloody, hot, and fun. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, another rewatch. Love this film. Chop Top's amazing. This movie is literally, it is sexy. It is stupid. It is silly. It is fun. It is grotesque. And everything you want from a sequel. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 we watched on the 15th. I actually didn't realize this movie existed because I thought for the longest time The Next Generation was part 3. This movie being completely off my radar was actually a chore for us to get through. I did not enjoy this one, and people were telling me that this was their favorite in the franchise, and I would have to disagree. But moving on to The Next Generation, which is actually titled here Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we also watched on the 15th. This one did no favors at all. Once again, a chore. Matthew McConaughey was annoying. I didn't like this one. On the 16th, we woke up and immediately were like, let's lay in bed and watch Urban Legend. And I'm so glad we did because it was such a fun watch. Talk about a palate cleanser. I should say a rewatch because We just watched it like a few years ago. Okay, back to our rewatch marathon. On the 16th, we also watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is arguably like one of the best in the series. That's another one that is hot, disgusting, sexy even, but makes you feel like you need a shower afterwards for all the brutality that you watch in that film. And then after that, we watched The Last Matinee, which is very cool. It is genuinely a modern day, like it's presented like a modern day slasher in a rundown theater, like a closing down theater. It's very cool. If you are into films about movies and films about being in the setting of where movies are, this one is just, it's probably for you. Also, we had a busy day on the 16th. We watched Handling the Undead, which is a newer film, and this is one that really I didn't like, but I don't want to spoil it because it is fairly new, but I will let you know that the premise is about people's loved ones coming back from the dead, but not like in a scary zombie way, more in like a we're gonna deal with our grief zombie way. Okay, we watched 6 movies on the 16th. The 5th one here being Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. Did not enjoy this one whatsoever. This one felt like another chore to get through. It's like this series brings you up to just drop you right down and then brings you up again, and it's like, just kidding. But a really cool, okay, I've said it before and I'll say it again, big Charles Band fan. I always will be. And if there's one thing Charles Band gets, it's boobies, weeds, and cheesy B movies, and I love it. So we watched Head of the Family finally, and this is another one we watched with Joe Bob on an older episode of The Last Drive-In. And honestly, I loved how stupid this movie was. This was right up our alley. If there is any movie that is a great late night watch, it is Head of the Family. And then on the 17th, we woke up and watched Ticks. I did a bug horror video recently and I recommended Ticks and I wanted to watch it. And this one stars Seth Green and Alfonso Ribeiro, who is Carlton from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, in a role that does not feel anything like Carlton from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This is a stupid film, but if you like stupid and you like a bug creature feature, definitely check out Ticks. I would not sleep on this one. It is so stupid, and I believe it does have another title. I believe the other title is Infested, yes, and so if you can't find Ticks, maybe search Infested from 1993. Alright, on the 17th, we also watched Texas Chainsaw 3D, which I cannot believe this was my 3rd time watching this, and every single time, like, it never gets easier to hear her say, "Do your thing, cuz." If you know, you know. Like, it's, you know? Anyways, moving on to Leatherface from 2017. This is a movie that I started watching a little while ago, but I logged it and I wrote a full review and I do not remember the movie at all for some reason. But watching it this time, I was glued to the television and I really enjoyed. This is definitely up there with one of my favorites in the franchise now. And on the 20th of July, we finally finished our Texas Chainsaw Massacre rewatch with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2022. And after watching them all leading up to this, I did change my review because initially I really had a lot of fun with this film when it first came out, and don't get me wrong, the bus massacre scene is so good and will live rent-free in my head forever, but after watching them pretty much all bing bang boom in a week, this felt like a slap in the face to the franchise. I'm sorry, it really did, and I feel like a lot of you are on my side here. Great gore, but for story? Alright, also on the 20th, we started our Wrong Turn franchise rewatch, and we had our TV cranked up so loud that every single jump scare scared the shit out of me, and I loved it. I had a great time rewatching this. On the 24th, another rewatch, which I absolutely love this film, The Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. And I love this film because Blake Anderson, if you guys are fans of Workaholics or This Is Important, the podcast, like, I'm a big fan of Blake Anderson. So that opening scene with him doing his thing, lip sync, singing to Iggy Azalea, like, I love that whole bit so much. And it just really sets the tone for how this movie is gonna go. If you want a really fun zombie film, definitely check out Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. And just because it says, just because it's called Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, like, don't get scared. Like, it's not stupid, it's funny. It's so good. On the 25th, though, we did a rewatch of Beetlejuice, and that is because we actually subscribed to Joe Bob's Patreon. Well, not like it's all like a connected universe here. It's older episodes of Monster Vision and just older episodes of things that Joe Bob has done with full movies. So we started watching that with Beetlejuice, and that's my favorite movie of all time. I cannot wait for the new one. It was so fun to go back and rewatch this. I cry every time at the ending. On the 27th, though, another episode of Monster Vision we watched was People Under the Stairs, and I used to be so afraid of this film. You guys probably remember a video from a few years ago I made facing my fears watching People Under the Stairs for the first time since I was a little girl, and I loved it. It's stupid, another stupid film, but it's good. It's good stupid. And like I wrote in my review, we watched this while recalking the bathroom, and it was a great Friday night. I think it was a Friday night. Okay, last Joe Bob on this list, we went back and watched another older episode of The Last Drive-In for Maniac Cop, and I cannot believe we hadn't seen Maniac Cop with Tom Atkins and Bruce Campbell both being in it. It was such a cool film. I will love Maniac Cop forever now. On the 29th, though, we watched Tromeo and Juliet. If you guys are Lloyd Kaufman fans, if you guys are Troma fans, this one is great. We saw this on Shudder, that it was added to Shudder, so we decided to kind of give it a go, and I wasn't sure what to expect. But holy shit, was this right up my alley. Like, I loved this film so much, I can't tell you how passionate I am about Romeo and Juliet. And then to end the month on the 31st, we watched A Quiet Place Day 1, and I didn't hate it. I thought it was alright for the third movie in this franchise. We have done so many franchise watches this month, but like I said in my review here, the only thing I was concerned about was the cat. As an owner of 5 cats myself, the whole movie I was like, okay, but where's the cat? Where is he? And I enjoyed having that, like, element of a non-character that you know is probably not gonna be harmed, that you can follow and, like, look forward to seeing. It was a nice added touch, but I thought Joseph Quinn was absolutely phenomenal in that movie, and I always love seeing Lupita Nyong'o in anything, especially horror. So on that note, that was everything we watched in the month of July. We actually got an early screener for Cuckoo, you guys. We got to see it 3 days early. It still doesn't come out till tomorrow as I'm filming this. I cannot believe we got to see it early. Let me tell you, Dan Stevens, it's on site. It is on site. That's all I have to say. So if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give this a thumbs up. Subscribe for more. I will see you guys very soon. Let me know what you watched in July. Sayonara, Spooky fam.